The smoke, it was everywhere. Thick, choking, orange-gray smoke that clawed at my throat and burned my eyes. I could barely see 2 feet in front of me. The heat, I could feel it through my gear, like a furnace pressing against my skin. We were deep inside, trying to rescue a family trapped on the 2nd floor of a burning house in the hills above Malibu. It was one of those crazy wildfire situations, the kind where the wind whips the flames into a frenzy, jumping from house to house like some kind of fiery demon. My name's Danny O'Connell. Been with LAFD for almost 10 years, seen my share of fires, but this was different. This fire had a hunger to it, an intensity I'd never encountered before. We'd pushed our way through the living room, flames licking at the walls, furniture already reduced to smoldering embers. The air was thick with the smell of burning wood and something else, something acrid, almost metallic. We found them huddled in a back bedroom, a mother and 2 kids. They were unconscious, overcome by the smoke. We got them out, fast as we could, but something happened. A section of the ceiling collapsed, right behind me. I felt a searing pain in my back. Then everything went black. And then, well, it's hard to explain. It wasn't like being asleep. It was different. I was somewhere else. It was peaceful, calm. There was no smoke, no heat, just light. A soft, warm light that seemed to emanate from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I felt lighter, like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And then I saw him. He wasn't what I expected. Not some old guy with a long white beard sitting on a cloud. He looked, well, like a man. Kind eyes, a gentle smile. He radiated love. Pure, unconditional love. "Danny," he said. His voice it resonated within me, like a deep, calming bell. "You're all right." Where am I?" I managed to stammer. He smiled again. "You're between places for a moment." I didn't understand, but I didn't feel scared. I felt safe. I remember the fire," I said. "The heat, the smoke, getting worse, aren't they?" "Yeah," I said. "It's like nothing we've ever seen before. The winds, the dryness, it's like the whole place is just waiting to burn." He nodded. "It's more than just the weather, Danny." "What do you mean?" I asked. He looked at me, and his expression became serious. "These fires, they're a symptom of a deeper problem." "What kind of problem?" "The world. It's losing its connection to the earth, to creation. People have forgotten their responsibility to care for the world I gave them." He paused, a look of sadness in his eyes. "They take and take without giving back. They pollute the air, the water, the land. They destroy the forests, the habitats. They forget that everything is connected." I thought about the fires I'd fought, the scorched earth, the destroyed homes, the displaced animals. It made sense in a way. And the Christians?" I asked. I'd grown up going to church, but lately, well, things felt different. The sermons seemed hollow, the people judgmental. He sighed. That's what I wanted to talk to you about, Danny. Many who call themselves Christians, they've lost their way." "How?" I asked. "They focus on the rules, the doctrines, the rituals, but they forget the most important thing: love. Love for God, love for their neighbor, love for themselves." "But isn't that what church is supposed to be about?" It should be, he said. But too often, it's become about judgment, about condemnation, about exclusion. They build walls instead of bridges. They focus on the sins of others while ignoring their own. They preach about forgiveness, but they're quick to condemn. He paused, and his gaze met mine. They've forgotten the simple truth that I came to save sinners, not saints. I came to offer forgiveness, not judgment. I came to show them how to love, as I have loved them. So, what are they doing wrong? I asked. They've made faith into a list of do's and don'ts, he said. They've turned it into a competition, a way to feel superior to others. They've forgotten that faith is about relationship, about connection, about love. They argue over interpretations of Scripture, forgetting the spirit behind the words. They focus on outward appearances, neglecting the inner transformation that true faith brings. They preach about heaven, but they do little to create heaven on earth. They talk about serving me, but they neglect the needs of the poor, the sick, the lonely. They've forgotten the simple command, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. He looked at me, his eyes filled with compassion. Danny, the world needs love. It needs compassion. It needs forgiveness. It needs people who will live their faith, not just preach it. But what can I do? I asked. I was just a firefighter after all. You can live your life with love, he said. You can show compassion to others, even those who are different from you. You can forgive those who have wronged you. You can be a light in the darkness. You can care for the earth, Danny. Respect creation. Be mindful of the impact you have on the world around you. And you can tell others what you've learned here, he added. Tell them about the love, the compassion, the forgiveness. Tell them that true faith is about relationship, not religion. It's about loving God, loving your neighbor, and loving yourself. It's about living a life of love, just like I did. The light around us began to fade. I felt a pulling sensation, like I was being drawn back. I have to go, I said, a sense of sadness washing over me. He smiled. Not yet, Danny. You have more to do. Remember what I've told you, he said. Live with love, and tell others about it. And then I was back. I woke up in the hospital, my back bandaged. The doctor told me I was lucky to be alive. A piece of burning debris had hit me, but somehow I'd escaped serious injury. But I knew it wasn't just luck. I knew I'd been given a second chance, a chance to live my life differently. The experience, it changed me. I started to see things differently. The fires, they weren't just natural disasters. They were a warning, a wake-up call. I started to be more mindful of my own impact on the environment. I started recycling, conserving water, and reducing my consumption. I even started volunteering with a local environmental group, helping to plant trees and clean up parks. And I started to talk to people about what I'd experienced, not in a preachy way, but in a way that felt natural, conversational. I told them about love, compassion, and forgiveness. I told them about the importance of caring for the earth. Some people looked at me like I was crazy. Others listened, and some were genuinely moved. I didn't become a preacher or a theologian. I was still a firefighter, but I was a different kind of firefighter. A firefighter who lived his life with love, who showed compassion to others, who cared for the earth. A firefighter who knew that the real fire wasn't just the one burning in the hills, but the one burning in the hearts of men and women, a fire of disconnection, of selfishness, of forgetting what truly matters. And I tried, in my own small way, to help put that fire out. One act of love, one act of compassion, one act of caring at a time. I started to see the world with new eyes, and I started to live my life with a renewed purpose. I understood now what Jesus meant. It wasn't about the rules, it was about love. And that love, that was the real fire that could change the world. It was a slow process, a gradual awakening, but I knew deep down that it was the only way. The only way to heal the earth. The only way to heal ourselves. And that's what I'm trying to do. One day, one fire, one conversation at a time. It's not always easy, but I know it's the right thing to do. And that's enough for me.